What happened in '86? There was a lot of trouble on the last tour, and I understood that you were thinking about perhaps not touring again because of what happened. John got hurt at one of the shows, and was that ever? Did you ever think about just packing it in for touring? And
Pardon, there was not a lot of trouble. There was one incident which happened in Vienna. That is not a lot of trouble on the last tour, and no, I've never thought about packing it in. Not for quite a few years.
it just what with a lot of the old punks coming back and spitting at the band, maybe throwing things. I mean, that really hasn't upset you too much.
Nobody's spat at me in quite a long time.
Okay.
Period. All that like spitting nonsense, that's a thing of the past, right? That was the British press telling, like, young fools that that's what punks stood for. Well, I've educated the population otherwise. These problems don't exist anymore.
Well, that's good, because I thought that that there was a good possibility that we wouldn't see the band out again, and I really think that I saw the Toronto.
If you're
show.
going to go and spit, go spit on David Lee Roth, not me. Thank you.
Okay.
Or Madonna. There's someone that deserves a gob.
Right. What about the working with other people, the Bambata and the Laswell? How did the Bambata project come about?
Well, these are friends of mine. I used to live in New York for a bit, so, it naturally fell together. It was just a record, and a very good one, too, but just a record.
Did you enjoy making the video for that one?
No, I don't enjoy making any video.
What about the forthcoming film, Order of Death? How did that come about? And what, can you tell me about that film?
Forthcoming? My God, I made it 6 years ago.
This was written up in
Is Canada really that far behind?
Well, some of the films we don't get over.
Well then, let me tell you, Canada, ha ha. God, you really are in the sticks, aren't you? Well,
On some cases.
I feel sorry for you, boys and girls, and I'm here to re-educate you.
What about going back to England?
What about England?
What
Tell
about
me
England?
about that awful band Thor. Are they still in existence?
No, they've been out of existence for a long time.
Well, good riddance to bad rubbish, because I found that disgraceful the last time I was here.
You find a lot of things disgraceful back in England now that you're back?
Yes, politically.
Why did you leave New York? I mean, you were in New York for quite some time, or leave the States. What didn't you like about the States?
I have no qualms against America whatsoever. It's just the government is not to my liking. I left New York because I got bored with it, and because there's a lot of gypsy in me, I move about, period. Right, the world is my oyster, and I have no allegiance to any one country. Planet Earth is my style.
And what about
Yes, folks, that does include Russia.
anywhere?
What?
Anywhere then?
Yeah, wherever the fancy takes me, I will plonk my big fat ass.
Well, you've had in the past a lot of troubles with your record companies. You just didn't perhaps get along with it. Have you ever thought about just going out and doing it on your own? I mean, putting together Public Image Records, and you could do whatever you wanted, just to have complete control of everything?
The answer is yes, but the problem with that would be money, and I don't have the money to set up an independent record label. And secondly, as everybody who works in this music biz as we know it must understand that you still have to deal with the same distribution agents, which is the 4 major companies. The phone, it must be one of my fans.
Fuck 'em?
Probably, but that comes later.
Right. The current lineup of the band is probably the tightest that there ever's been, and there's been lots of changes.
No,
Okay.
I wouldn't say the tightest.
Well,
It
what
works
about...
very well?
Yeah.
Right? These are my friends, these people, right? And it works on that level. In the past, people have lied about friendship to me, and I've been deceived very often because I'm such an open, giving person. But Pill is important. Nobody does what we do. We don't do this for money. We do it for love. We do it for good music. And there ain't nobody out there that feels like that. They're all into media manipulation. And it's just really tragic that audiences seem to fall for it. The pet rock syndrome. I would put Madonna in that bracket quite casually. So would you. You're nodding in agreement.
I would, yeah.
And who needs that kind of dullness? I mean, what kind of message has she got to give to anybody? What kind of hope is in any of her lyrics? What kind of problems does that bitch deal with? Nothing. Sorry, Mr. Penn. The pen is mightier than the sword.
Do you see the current lineup of your friends' public image staying the same for quite some time? Because there's been lots of changes in the past.
I can see you driving me to tedious boredom. Why don't you just play records and sod this interview?
I could do.
You could.
I could. I
And now
could.
You will.
And I will, and I'll play your records.
Well, that's rugged, and that's hard, and that's all that counts, isn't it? You know, I can sit here and pontificate till the cows come home, but really it doesn't mean tuppence, bleep. It's the music that matters, and nobody does what we do. Nobody's that that hard, that intense, and that deliberate. We've got a world of masturbators out there, and then there's Pill. Make your own decisions, boys and girls.
You don't think there's anybody else out there that is as hard as you as far as making music goes? I mean, what do you think of bands such as the Replacements and Husker Du? I mean, I'd say they're just as hard as you.
No, they're very old-fashioned, as you must well know, and they're pub band orientated, aren't they? Let's face it, this is the truth. It's a very mediocre, dull, imitation blues racket that those kind of bands kick up. And mega wankers like you too. I mean, really, come on, boys and girls, do you need a repeat of the hippie syndrome? I don't think so.
What about getting your message across? What do you think of? I asked the other members of the
Oh,
band.
shut up. Just
Okay,
play
I'll
the
shut up.
record.
I'll
Just play the record,
I'll play
right?
the record.
I'm bored.
Okay.
Good night.
Thanks.